Are we being deliberately ripped off at the petrol pump or diesel pump?
Pretty soon it'd be cheaper to run your car on this stuff. Just put a few bottles of this in your tank.
In my case, I've just been and filled up, and it's almost one fraction of a penny shy of £1.94 a litre for diesel. So that got me thinking, why is it 30 pence a litre more than petrol? Why? Because it's subject to the same reasons, you know, the Iran war and supply chain cut, you know, the Straits of Hormuz being blocked and supply chain, everything else. So surely that would affect petrol in the same way, because it's a derivative of oil. It's a more refined version of diesel. So why are diesel drivers paying 30 pence a litre more?
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works.
It feels like a bit of a rip-off, because if you look at the statistics for petrol cars on the road and diesel cars on the road, there is more petrol cars on the road than there are diesel cars. And we're talking about vans or lorries, we're talking about cars now. So are they trying to plug the gap because there are less diesels on the road now, trying to make it a level playing field between petrol and diesel, so the diesel drivers have to pay more? Are we really being ripped off like that? Let's have a look.
So why is diesel nearly 30p a litre more than petrol in the UK? So it feels like a complete con, especially when you hear that petrol is more refined. There are more petrol cars on the road than diesel cars, like I said before, and we're the diesel drivers. I mean, the petrol cars, that has gone up as well, but it's the diesel drivers that are getting hammered, and that's the van drivers and the lorry drivers as well, and that's going to cause a knock-on effect with all the deliveries and, you know, cost of living going up even more, and the increased revenue, like HMRC takes hands down our pockets all the time. Anyway, it's easy to jump to the conclusion that it's just a way to balance the books for the discrepancy between petrol and diesel drivers, so diesel drivers get squeezed even harder. But the truth is, so what I've been researching, more complicated, as it always is, and it's frustrating in a way. So the old idea that diesel is cheap and it lasts a bit longer, we can get more miles to the gallon, is sort of, well, not true anymore. The idea that diesel is cheap, diesel is the leftover product from the refining oil, it doesn't really hold up anymore. Modern diesels have to meet strict emission standards, which means it goes through additional processes to remove sulfur and impurities. These processes are more energy intensive and adds to the costs. So despite petrol being more refined overall, diesel isn't the cheap option as it once was. Another big factor is that the UK doesn't actually produce enough diesel to meet our demand. We refine more petrol than we use and often export it, but diesel is a different story. We rely heavily on imports. That means diesel prices are more exposed to global markets, shipping costs and supply line disruptions, which can push the price up very quickly. Then there's demand. Even though there are more petrol cars on the UK roads, diesel is still a backbone of the global economy. It fuels our lorries for deliveries of foods and goods and construction machinery, to public transport, to our trains, to farming equipment. It's used more widely than petrol. So while petrol demand can dip if people use less petrol cars or switch to electric cars, diesel demand stays high and constant because neither petrol or EVs suit diesel lorries for deliveries or trains. So it keeps price under pressure. Global events like tensions involving Iran also tend to hit diesel harder than petrol. Diesel is closely tied to shipping and heavy industry, so when there's uncertainty in major oil transit routes, the knock-on effect on diesel supply is often stronger. And that's why you sometimes see diesel prices spike more sharply than petrol during global conflicts.
This map shows tankers in red, general cargo in green. As you can see, most are going nowhere.
Oh yes, and tax. Well, that doesn't help either, does it? Although it's not the main cause. Fuel duty is the same for both petrol and diesel, but because VAT is charged as a percentage of the total price, when diesel wholesale costs rise, you end up paying more tax on top of the higher price. So what's really driving this sort of current 30p gap is a combination of all these factors hitting at once: higher refining costs, heavy reliance on imports, strong global demand, and geopolitical tensions. Normally the gap is much smaller, but right now it's been stretched by what is basically a perfect storm. So are diesel's drivers being ripped off? Aren't we always? Well, yeah, it's not that simple, I suppose, to be just saying yes, it's just rip off Britain, although it may feel like that. It's it gives us a sense of a deliberate scheme to charge more just because there's something happening elsewhere around the world and they're taking advantage of it. That's what it feels like for us all. But there is a fair argument that prices shoot up quickly when costs rise, but are very slow to go back down again. So in short, it's not as simple as petrol is more refined, so it should cost more. Diesel sits in a different part of the global energy system, one that's more exposed, more in demand, and more sensitive to disruption. And right now, that's exactly why it's hitting our wallets. Well, I should say hitting our wallets, smashing our wallets hard. So that gap, that 30p gap between diesel and petrol, I don't think it's just about the fuel prices. It's a warning sign of things to come, and I don't think we've seen all our cost of living increases yet. I think things are going to get more expensive, because when diesel goes up, like I said before, everything goes up, from our food to building costs. It all gets passed back to us as the consumer. So our monthly expenses gets even dearer. So I personally will hold back on big expenses and keep a bit of dry powder, because your bills are going to increase. I would avoid buying that brand new car, and that in itself becomes the problem, because people do hold back because they want to stay safe. They don't want to go into debt even more than they probably already are in debt. But that becomes like the death spiral that you hear so many people talking about the economy on YouTube. And the tax man takes a lot more, and we have a less to spend, and our food is more expensive. So it becomes a rolling snowball of hurt, really. And it exposes the bigger problem. We're too dependent on imported, not just diesel, lots of other things we import into this country. We're not self-sustaining anymore, and I think we have to get back to local communities supporting each other, supporting our local farmers to supply food to the local community. It's how things used to be, and I think globalism is failing because of all the conflicts going on around the world, and one country can be held ransom by another country. Freudian slip there, I say company, but yeah, this world is run by corporations. So my slip up wasn't really too far from the truth. So yeah, that's my take. I think good advice would be, in my opinion, don't spend everything you earn. Keep back a little bit of money, because our monthly bills are going up. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching. What's coming up next is I plan to do some more additive testing, and I'm going to test them on full tanks. So I'm just going to the bank to get a second mortgage for that. Yes, I've had some comments asking for different brands to be tested, so I'll be looking into doing that. I have got some a long time coming, these car reviews, but I've got some more car reviews coming. Honestly, they will be released soon, so you can look forward to that. And well, thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.